Good evening. It is May 9th. We are at 7:22. I'm going to make this as quick as possible because I know a lot of you are going to be wanting to get out the door. We are KP5 alerted until 11 p.m. tonight. It is expected to then possibly dissipate, possibly at this point, and then re-pick up again tomorrow night. So let's take a look at what has happened. We have a corona hole facing us. We have the exiting corona hole that is now delivering us some corona hole wind speed. Now I'm not going to put this in motion per se. I'm going to do this very slowly. You're going to watch, and this is going back, I believe, into yesterday, into today. I want you to watch. This is 3296, 3297. So as we go through this, watch how we're snapping, crackling, popping. This is what's been going on. There is, boom, big CME, solar flare, settling down, earth facing, gonna hit us. More flares, boom, there goes 3299 down underneath 3297 right here. Look down here at the bottom here. Gonna back it up again. Here it goes. Here we go. Here's the big CME here and flare, followed by another lower flare down on the coronal hole, or the sunspot, 3299 on the southern hemisphere. Continuing snapping, crackling, and popping out of 3296, which has given us most of the activity. Here goes a big flare out of the earth-facing sunspot over here. Continuing to give, I'm just going to let it run here for a minute here. So you're going to see the snapping and crackling popping up here. You're going to see one take off here. There's our big CMEs through here. Here's a pop down here. There goes a pop. Big pops up here. And this is our big long duration flares that just took place. So the big news. We have some CMEs taking off. They are directional. They are not full halo hits at this point. They're mostly taking off on our outgoing limb at this point. But I do believe there's still enough wind here coming around the to give us an uptick, but it won't be an absolute direct hit. Now, coming over here, whoops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go right here to flares. Here is our big news from this afternoon. We have had two great big M flares, an M4.2 and M4 or 5.2. They are long duration. This did not come, just tick down, just didn't come out of the M class range. So it stayed within M class range for several hours. So this is going to be another high long duration event. When we get the long duration events, that means we're going to get more activity, and we expect larger effects from a long duration event. Okay, let's pop down here. Let's see what CMEs or what sunspots have released the most activity. 96 is now beta gamma delta. That means that it is even more apt to let go of more activity. A couple of these are now developing into the alpha range. We have new sunspots being listed. So we have 3390, 3302, 3301 has just been named around the limb, and 3303 has developed to the point that it is now an official sunspot. I mentioned it this morning that it looked like one was developing. This is $32.99. $32.94 is the one we had a CME out of this morning or this afternoon. This is the one that is now beta gamma delta. This is beta gamma. So these two are the ones that are kicking off the most activity. So $32.93, which is out of Earth facing range and not likely to hit us, has given us two CMEs. $32.94 gave us a flare early yesterday. $32.96, our beta gamma delta, that has given us a, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 CMEs in the C class range, 5 M class flares just within the last 24 hours. And it is not done. It continues to go on. Now it is starting to turn to where it may not hit us. It may give us a minor brush at this point. And we are at 65% and 20% on the $32.97. But I think 96 is just drawing the energy away from 97. $32.99 is not anything, but it has produced two small C-class flares. $33.00 is now developed into an official beta class flare sunspot. And here is our monster. We finally have a view of this one that's been flaring and kicking up fuss around the limb. It may have quieted some. It is one of these. Now they have named two. One of them is the upper, we're looking at the bottom one right here. And this one is only capable of a 5% chance of creating a C-class at this point. And then the upper one is at a 5% chance of creating one. And then we have 3303. This is the one that is just developing and just really come up into being in the last 8 hours. So this one is now at a 10% chance from nothing about 8 hours ago. So this is one you want to watch. It's going to be developing rather rapidly. This one, I believe, may be dissipating. We'll have to see. It may have kicked up most of its energy and is changing shape or is starting to fall apart. We'll have to wait and watch it. So that is our look at that. We are, at this point, there haven't hit, NOAA has not listed the KP5 spike, but we are spiked that is going to go up here in the next hour or so. At any time it could start to spike, and we are expecting a G1 tonight. We are expecting a G1 through the overnight hours tomorrow night. Now keep in mind, we've had a lot of serious electrical activity. This could increase. This could come in stronger than we expect it to. And it could prolong into the 12th, depending on if some of these flares in CMEs have been blown backwards. And I did notice 96 was blowing energy back instead of forward. So if some of that energy is still blowing backwards, it still has the potential of hitting Earth. Let's look at the lasco real quick so you can see what's happening on it in the last 24 hours. We do have a solid ring around that solid ring here. So we are expected to get, yeah, there's a good solid. Okay, I'm going to toggle this now. Here is our double tap. Here is the start of the double tap. It was enough to disrupt the satellites. Here is that double tap M class flare that of long duration. It is going to hit Earth. It is more than a 3/4 halo. And it has a lot of density. So we're going to expect to see something from that probably late into maybe the 11th and into the morning of the 12th. I would guess unless it comes early, it could come during the day or into, depending on the speed, it could come earlier and hit tomorrow night. If it does, now if this is moving super fast, it could scoop up the activity before it, push it faster. We could end up with that scoop shovel that picks things up and moves it much faster than we expect it to. So that means if it moves during daylight hours, Europe's going to be in luck. Greenland, Iceland, Norway, they may be in luck. If it moves it really much faster and it comes in early morning or late morning on the 11th, in those early morning hours, and it's really cooking, we could see that combine with what's already out there. We're just going to have to wait and see. Umbra Spiral really has not changed all that much. They're saying winds are going to continue on through 13th, possibly into 14th at a low level. We're talking, they're saying down around a KP3. Maybe a 4. They're not expecting much out of this. They're saying that they expect the plasma to stay with us until the early morning hours or the early evening hours of the 13th. Early morning hours of the 12th. But the winds will dissipate and then pick back up on the 13th. So this is the morning of the 12th. We're going to get another little spike there. And I don't think they've added the double tap M class flare in here yet. So we can expect that right in here somewhere. And then the winds will pick up in here. Now, if that M class comes in slow, it'll hit around the evening of the 13th. If it comes in fast, it could hit anytime during the 12th. So this is what we're looking at. Looking down here at our sunspot progression, you can see we've already reached our sunspot progression of what we maxed out at last cycle. And we are well on our way to getting up to much higher sunspot counts this cycle as we did last cycle. I do predict we will have a more normal cycle, and that, looking down here, will probably look more like what happened down here. Because we haven't had a normal cycle for about 20-30 years. And these right here were not normal. This and this is what we expect to look, what normal looks like. So we have a huge amount of time left, a year and a half, 2 years left in this cycle, that it could really peak out rather large. And we are going to continue to climb probably up until this point right here. So we've got, well into 2025 before it's going to start dissipating. And we are looking over here at the phi angle. We're starting to see the jumps in the speed. The density has kind of wiggle wobbled. Our temperature is starting to go up. Our magnometers here on the BZ are starting to wiggle waggle. That means we are going to take the magnetic load here soon, and we are expected to get that KP5. So get your cameras, head out the door, and have a good time. Unfortunately, I'm without my car until Joe gets home from work, which may be too late. So tonight, I'm stuck, which is probably a good thing, being I haven't felt the best. So have fun tonight. Get lots of good pictures. I'll probably see you out there tomorrow night.